Mhm.
Hello, Brooke, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Hello, it's so good to be back.
Yes, so this is your second time on. Last time you were on, we were talking about this huge run you were going to be doing, and now it's already in the past. You've done it. It's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. It literally feels like a lifetime ago that I was on this podcast, but really it was
Yes.
like maybe 10 months ago or so. But we done it. 1600K run done.
That is amazing. I was just saying to you before we started recording that I'm just in awe and amazed by what you have achieved. It's absolutely huge. Like it's all fine and well to talk about these things. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. The actual execution and doing of it is another thing entirely. So I thought we'd get you on, talk about how it all went down, and find out what happened on the road. So basically, when did you first start this, refresh the listeners' memories? When did you first start training for this?
Yeah, so obviously you helped me through the whole training phase and everything. And I'm pretty sure I made contact with you back October 2023. So literally last year. So it was like 10 months ago.
22, 22, yeah.
22, not 23 now.
Oh no,
That's when
years are going too fast.
that's when I made contact with you. And then that was a few weeks after I made the decision that's what we're going to do. But prior to that, and prior to starting to train with you, I had only ever ran 10Ks. Like my maximum distance was 10Ks. So then to have like a 9 month build up to achieve 1600K run, like, yeah, I shocked so many people.
Me
And
included, to be perfectly honest, because even I was like, yeah, we can do this. But there was a little bit of me that was a little bit nervous because I didn't want to injure you by building you up too quick. And, you know, but you managed it. And I also have to say, I think your strength work really played a big part in being able to manage the big kilometers, would you say?
massively. And I tell that to everyone. Everyone's like, how did you do it? And I'm like, honestly, laying the foundations is crucial.
Yeah.
But I do believe that my strength training, I've been strength training since I was 14 years old. I do believe that has played a massive part in the
Yeah.
whole build up. Like you think about it, there was not many injuries there at all. And even on the run, there was like little injuries. And now how I've bounced back, I'm like, let's just pull it back for a second. So there is
Yes,
no
yes.
injury. Good.
That,
Don't put that
oh,
stuff.
look, yeah, I mean, honestly, I was because I've seen people do these kind of runs and they get lots of niggles on the run, and I didn't want to say that, because I don't like to put ideas into your head, but I was nervous about that. But you had the odd niggle, but nothing major, nothing that couldn't be dealt with on the road.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, sometimes, and how we we're talking about in the training phase, sometimes a niggle will pop up, but then your body is so
Yes,
strong and your body is so smart that it actually corrects the niggle the further you run. And
yes.
yeah,
Because
sometimes
I did kind of say that they might come up, but that hope, I've heard that they do repair on the run. But I mean, it was something, you can say that, but you just never know.
yeah,
But that's certainly what happened, isn't it?
yeah. And I was like, as we were talking about before, I was preparing myself post run to be on the couch for 6 weeks, to
Yeah.
have all these complications afterwards. But yeah, it's only been what, just over a week now. But like I was saying earlier, I just physically feel so good. And now mentally, I just feel really good as well. But it's the importance to not push it right now.
And yeah, and I think, like we said, it's the strength work that's helped you recover, but I also think you absolutely nailed food.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like obviously there was a bit of weight loss there as well because
But not huge, not huge, was it? How much did you lose?
I lost 10 kilos in total.
Oh my God, that's quite a lot actually. But you didn't look like you'd lost a heap. Like you didn't look gaunt, you
Yeah.
know.
I felt like I was happy to lose a little bit because yeah, it just made running a lot easier.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
food played a massive part, like on the run, but also to the lead up to the run as well. I felt like I was just continuously eating to get the
yeah.
calories in because I knew what was to come on the run. Like running 10 hours a day, you cannot
No,
intake as much as what you're
enough.
burning,
Yeah.
6,000 calories.
Which was something we had discussed as well. And I'd said, you've just got to eat, eat. That's your priority because its recovery and its preparation all in the one kit, you know.
And it was actually really interesting at the start of the run. We started the run in Karatha. And if I had started the run a week before, this is what all the locals were telling me. If I started the run a week before, it would have been a hell of a lot easier because it wasn't as hot. But because it was like the week later, it was like the heat instantly kicked in. And I was running in 39, 42
oh
degrees.
my God, how horrible.
So to have that challenge at the very start of the run, and then, oh, sorry about the noise. I hope it's not too loud.
No, that's not too bad.
But then to have that challenge at the very start of the run, obviously running in the heat, everyone's like hydration, electrolytes, I'm losing more. So I started listening to other people instead of what I had already known. So then I started taking gels. I started taking more hydration.
God. Yeah.
All of this just to replace everything. And thankfully, after the third day, I was like, I can't do this anymore because it's not what my body's used to. I need food. And I'm going to get that from my food because my gut was turning with all the gels I was trying to consume and all that other stuff. My gut was just turning and hating it. I was like, no, we're not doing this. Like, I'm better off just eating the food that I know of instead of changing it.
So food in and of itself has quite a lot of salts and different, minerals in it. So if you're eating a variety of stuff, you really shouldn't need that. And there's no way you could do gels for that whole thing. Oh my God.
Oh, absolutely not. And it's, like the outside world is just like, you need this, you need BCAAs, you need this, you need all that. And I'm like, no, I know what my body needs, and it needs proper food because I ain't relying on these gels to get me through 10 hours of exercise every single day. My gut was eating it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, just the thought of it actually makes me feel a bit queasy, to be honest. So talk to the listeners and say, like, what was your kilometres every day?
So we prepared mentally. I prepared to run 60 Ks a day. I prepared to run 60 would be my maximum, and I'm pretty sure that's what we were training for. Yes. But because one, I'm shocking at maths, and two, I pushed it a day forward, and then I finished a day earlier as well. I had some Ks to make up. Yeah. And then I was crook one day as well. So I ended up running no little than 62 Ks a day. And then my maximum run was 74 Ks. Yeah. So it was anywhere from 62 to 74 Ks a day. On average, like a 66K day every single day for 28 days.
Wow. That's a lot of kilometers. And when you would get up in the morning, what was your mindset? Like, was it like, oh my God, I've got to do this again? Like, what did you feel? There was never any doubt. There was never any regret or anything like that. But there was some days where it was just like Groundhog Day. I'm just like, oh, okay, let's just go. Like, I just got to do it. And my mantra through the whole run and throughout life has been just one more. So every single day I would just be like, it's just one more day. It's just one more K. It's just one more step, just one more breath. And that's what helped me get through. And also what helped me get through is at the end of the day, I'll do my X marks the spot, baby. And that was like my celebration. Yeah. But then it was like I'll just wipe the slate clean, like nothing had happened, and I've just got one more to do. So every day was just like a brand new day. And every morning, like, there was different challenges, and obviously my mood goes high and then it goes low, and like the more tired, the more sleep that you get. But every single day I was just like, alrighty, fam. We just, if you haven't seen my Instagram, that's what it was. Yes, it was. But I was like, we got the challenge, we got the task, and it's just got to be done. So let's go. I was just like I was obviously in Europe, which was really bad timing because I would have loved to have been there for some of it. But I was just watching the videos, and I was just like, I liked the Alrighty fam. Like it got you into a groove, and it was like sort of like you say, Groundhog Day. It was the same each time, and you could see it was kind of a new day. Like you weren't getting bogged down in the, oh my God, how much I've got to do. It was just today, this is what we're doing. And I think if you'd thought too much of how much there was ahead, it would have been a little bit or a lot more daunting for you. 100%. So every morning, that's where I was like,
all right, we're going for 64 Ks a day. And I kind of felt off my body as well. If my body was feeling good, well, then I'll push for like 68. If my body was feeling real tired, then I'll just do 60. It was no less than 60. But that's where in the morning, that's where I set the intention with my support crew. And that's where I was like, this is a plan. This is my rest days. I mean, this is my rest time.
Yeah.
This is how many Ks I'm doing for today. And having that set in the morning, and even like halfway through the day, if I was feeling heaps better and whatever, having that set, when the 60K mark hit, that's when I stopped. When the 68K mark hit, that's when I stopped. It didn't matter. Rowan, my support dude, it's like sometimes he would be parked 500 meters further away from me. And I'm like, I'm not moving.
No, I think that's fair.
You
That's
come
fair.
back. But yeah, it was like being able to break it down so small. And I think that's the key as well. Not looking at it as the whole 1600 Ks, just being able to break it down really small helped me out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot.
And I think that's really smart, because otherwise it's, I mean, 1600, that's a lot in anybody's language, even, as they always say, even to drive it would be, hard to think about. So what sort of time did you start in the morning?
So that's another interesting thing. So in the Pilbara, where it was 39-degree days, 42-degree days, on the first day I started at about 8:30, and then that day was so brutal, so hot, and just, I think I told you, like, I fucked up my nutrition, I fucked up the foundations and everything. Like, I started the run just straight away on the sugars, like straight away on the red frogs. Whereas, yeah, I don't know, it was just like the overwhelm, the excitement, just everything got to me, and I just honestly killed that day in the worst way possible. So then from that, I was like, all right, we've got to start earlier because it's super hot. We've got to try and beat the heat.
Yeah.
So then for the next 4 days, I started my run at 4 a.m. in the morning, 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But then what I realized, my run was still taking me just as long. I would start at 4 in the morning and then I'll finish at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I was like, I was super tired. So I was like, I just need more sleep. So then I had more sleep. I was like, Rowan, we're going to start the run at 6:30 the next day. I'm going to have a sleep in. I had a sleep in. I woke up feeling so good that I blitzed that run. And that day I did 70 Ks in the same amount of time that it took me to do 60 Ks.
Wow, that's amazing. The power of sleep.
So it was like, again, while everyone's telling me start earlier, I'm like, I know my body. I need sleep. I had sleep. And it wasn't the fact that the heat was the biggest factor. It was the fact that I was becoming so tired and run down. So my body adjusted to the heat and I got really used to the heat, but it was like I was killing my sleep. So I just needed more sleep. So then from that moment, we started all the runs at 7 o'clock every day because I was like, sleep is crucial for me.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. And so you would finish your runs, you're saying, around 4 in the afternoon? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what would you do after that for recovery?
Straight away I'll jump in the boots. So I'll jump in the Normatec compression boots.
Yeah.
And then so I'll jump into them, and every second day I would have an ice bath as well, depending on the location. So there was like 3 or 4 days in a row where I had no ice baths, but depending on the location that we were at, I would always try have an ice bath if I could, or I would just have the boots on and then elevate my legs straight away as well. Yeah. And when we got further down the coast and we actually seen some ocean and stuff, I would always go for a swim, even if it was just like in the water, just to put the salts back in my body and just have a tread through the water. That was really nice. But yeah, the compression boots were super helpful in the run.
And so in regards to food, what did you eat before you'd start your run in the morning?
Every morning it was an up and go. But as you were saying, like your taste buds change and what you crave changes. So at the start for the first 5 days, every morning I would have like my up and go. But then at the 15K mark, I would also have my bacon and egg bagel with copious amounts of salt and avocado and cheese. And then it got to the point where I literally just felt like a saturated fat. I literally just felt so ick that I was like, I just need carbs. Like, I don't need that. And then we changed the game completely. And I just went straight cold turkey on Wheat Bix and oat milk. On the run, I had like 6 of them. And then that was breakfast for a while. And then it changed again. And I was like, I just want pancakes. So then I just had pancakes and honey.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my favorite. But yeah, it was
and that's kind of what I said, is that you've got to have heaps of options, because once you go off a food, that's it. You can't eat it, kind of thing. So you've got to have lots of options available. So that sounds good. And Rowan obviously did an amazing job.
He did. I'm going to tell you this one story. I would also have 2 hash browns before the run as well. That was just
nice.
I just felt like hash browns every morning. So, but there was this one time where, talk about Rowan doing an awesome job and talk about food and stuff. I said to Rowan specifically on that day, my best friend was coming out, and that was when I started craving pancakes. I was like, all I want is pancakes. So I said to Rowan specifically, I'm like, I'll have the up and go. I'll have my hash browns. On the first stop, I want pancakes. And he's like, okay, cool, no worries. I'll do that. So he goes to the first stop. I'm running. And then my girlfriend doesn't make it out in time. And then I get to the first stop, Rowan's there. And then my girlfriend pulls up, and Rowan goes, well, I've made you a bacon and egg roll for your breakfast, because Taylor wasn't here at the time with the pancakes. And I looked at him and I was like, I'm not going to eat that. Oh my God. And now I just can't believe the words that were coming out of my mouth sometimes. But I was like, not going to eat that. And then he didn't even flinch. He didn't even say anything.
Good for him.
He just handed it to Taylor and was like, well, there's your breakfast wrap. Enjoy it. I was like, I want pancakes. I told you that. And he cleans up the whole I know. He cleans up the whole caravan, like all the mess and everything. And then he's like, all right, I'll see you in 10Ks. I'm like, I'll see you in 10Ks with my pancakes. Gets to 10K, then has my pancakes there ready for me again.
Please tell me you ate them.
I did.
Oh, good.
And then there was other. I felt like looking back, I felt like the absolute biggest diva of like, I'm not going to eat that. Where are my pancakes? Like, he's just gone above and beyond to make me a breakfast wrap instead, to make sure I'm eating. But
yeah, and
again,
I mean, when we spoke beforehand, I did sort of say to him, he can't get offended, like, because you're going to say those sorts of things, and he obviously did a really good job of that.
He did. And my best friend Taylor was like, man, if you told me that, I would have told you to get effed. And I'm like, but then there was other times, like, I learned to listen to my body so much on the run. Like, you just do. And then you just start having better and a deeper understanding for it, of like what it needs when it needs it.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where it was towards the back end. I only had 9Ks to go, but the 3 times leading up to this 9K mark, I said to Rowan, I was like, can you get the oranges ready? I want oranges and a new wet shirt. This was in the heat, because I was having to keep myself cool with the wet shirt and whatever. But I was like, can I have oranges and my wet shirt? He forgot at that break. And I was like, okay, next break, can I have oranges and my wet shirt? He forgot at that break.
Oh, no.
And then on the third time, I was like, oranges and wet shirt. And anyway, so he had the oranges, and he was like 50 meters from me, not far at all.
Okay.
And then he was just sitting on the side of the road waiting for me to come to him. Like, he wasn't walking to me. And I just looked at him and I'm like, run the effing oranges to me. Because I could feel my body was crashing. I could feel my body crashing, that it just needed that sugar kick. So then I end up getting to him, having the oranges, and then I look at him and I'm like, where's the rest of the Coke? I want the Coke too. And he looked at me and he's just like, oh shit, I drank it. And I was like, oh no, you didn't. That was the first time that I wanted to kill him.
Oh, God.
It was so funny. But in that moment, I was like, holy shit, you do really learn what your body needs out here and when it needs
it. And
if you don't give it to yourself.
Yeah. So listen to it and not so, no, well, I'll just do this. It's like, you have to. It's like you can't actually argue with it, can you?
No, you can't. And if you don't do it, like, you get to a bitch mode like me. Run the fucking oranges. Right.
Yeah, don't worry, we've all been there. No, one thing I did notice, and I hope you don't mind this question, but on the videos, the wide open roads, no trees. What did you do about going to the toilet?
I just sat in the bush.
But there weren't any. Like I couldn't see much. There were some bushes around, were there?
Yeah, that was super tricky. No, so in the first 2 weeks, there was literally nothing. It was so vast, so everything
Yeah.
that I was like, yeah, I was just like, all right, if I need to go to the toilet, no cars coming, and I just had to go as fast as I
Because you'd
could.
have to, yeah. There'd be,
There's
there'd be
like
no choice.
small little shrubs, but that was it. But yeah, every morning when I like packed my vest and got on the road, I always had baby wipes. I was like, where are the
Yes.
baby wipes? Baby wipes are my best friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, yeah, I just had to make sure
Oh,
no one.
look, I mean, as ultra runners, that's what ultra runners do. You just go in the bush. But I just noticed there was no bush. So
And I just hope that no one come past. And there was
you
one
just
time
wave at the
I did,
truckies.
I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah. What do you do? That's it. I mean, and just do what you got to do because
And you would have seen that video. Like we talked about, you gave us pointers that yeah, shit's gonna get real out there. It's gonna get ugly. It's not gonna be pretty.
yeah.
But I didn't think it was gonna happen so soon, and it happened on day one. I was just
Yeah.
like, day two, I remember just sitting in the car being like, wow. I knew I was gonna get disgusting, but I didn't think
Oh,
it was
yeah,
gonna
you just,
happen
like I
so
said,
fast.
you just turn into an animal basically, and you just got to go with it.
Just doing
Yeah.
what it takes.
But
And
that's the human condition. Like we've modernized life and made everything beautiful and hidden all those things away. But at the end of the day, that's just part of being human. So it's okay.
absolutely, absolutely. And for me, the biggest key takeaways throughout this whole thing is just simplicity. It's
Yeah.
like us as humans, we are so fast to overcomplicate life. Like,
Yeah.
why? Strip it all back. And I mean in all areas, as in like how we live, but also how we communicate. Because
Mm.
there was times when I couldn't even string my words together. So Rowan had to ask me the most simplest questions. But if I didn't communicate what I needed exactly and be so simple with it, it wouldn't have been done as well. And he
Yeah.
wouldn't have been done. So it was like simplicity in the case of like how we live, how we show up, what we have, what we don't have, but also in how we communicate too. That was
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's a really great insight that you got from that. I love that. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, yes, you can have the most simplest things. And honestly, I was so happy out there. I miss it. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, afterwards, I just miss it. And I was the happiest I've ever been out there.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was running 60, 70 Ks a day, but just the simplicity of life, just how not easy, but like how easy it was. Just like,
That's
yeah.
all you had to worry about was the run and that was it.
Yeah. And I just honestly loved it. And the whole solitude, like
Yeah.
there's no trees and stuff, like it was super isolating out there, but coming back into reality, that's been hard to adjust to, as in like
Yes.
how fast paced everything is here and how overcomplicated everything is. I'm just like, let's just simplify life again.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. It sounds like you really grew as a person within yourself during this run.
Yeah. And I said to a friend today, I was like, I just feel like a whole new person. And now integrating all the lessons that I learned back into life, it just feels like I just feel new. I
Yeah.
feel like a whole different me, and that I would have to reintroduce myself to so many people.
And how old are you? Just to refresh everyone's memory.
27.
So
Yeah.
you're young, and this is a really good insight to have while you're young. I think it'll help you, for your whole life because some people don't learn this stuff until they're older, and it's not that it's too late, but it'd be awesome to learn it younger. So it's great that you have.
Yeah. And like I said, not like personal life, like I run my own business. So business, home life has
Yeah.
changed. Relationships are changing. The friendships that I have are changing because I'm like, just stop overcomplicating everything.
Yeah.
Communicate, simplify it, and you can be so much happier. And I met a dude out on the road as well. It was like a moment. It was day 7, I'm pretty sure. And I had so much back sweat and I was just about to wipe my back sweat. And I just remember feeling like someone was looking over me. And I just look over my shoulder, and there is a guy on a bicycle on the other side of the road getting his phone out to take a photo of me. And I was like, what the hell? Anyway, I yelled out to him. I was like, what are you doing out here? And then I like waved him to come over to me. We chatted for like 25 minutes. Rowan was
awesome.
okay, where are you? But we chatted for so long, and he just like made me realize that sometimes the simplest things in life are the happiest. And we both agreed when we're out there, we're like, we are just so happy, like this is happiness, you know?
Yeah, because he was where was he traveling from and to?
Oh man, he said to me, he's like, sometimes in life you meet someone who is crazier than you, and you are crazier than me. And I'm like, man, he was bike riding all around Australia, over
Awesome.
8,000 kilometers, and he was on his last leg. He was a guy from France, and I was like, why are you doing that? And he was just like, I'm retired and I just want an adventure. And I was like,
Wow.
wow.
That's
So
cool. Because especially doing it in a foreign country, that's a big challenge too.
yeah, and his English wasn't the greatest either, which made it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I'm just like, how great is that? Like, and I said to him, I'm like, is this happiness to you? And he's like, yeah. And all
That's
he
great.
had was he had like 2 spare tires for his bike.
Oh my
And
God.
he had a tent, which like no mattress or anything. He was just sleeping
Oh
on the
God.
rocks. And then he had a 15-liter bottle of water on the back. He had a little bit of food and some clothes, and that's it.
Geez, that's really simple, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I was
Wow.
like, what's your name? What's your Facebook? And I've added him on Facebook
Oh,
now.
awesome.
So cool. But yeah, I was like,
And, also in your videos, you often were given drinks and things like that by people on the road.
the support out there was insane. You talk about so like when you move through any country, you notice like the different scenery changes. I
Yes.
noticed being on foot, I noticed the different energy changes. But talking about waters and stuff, I noticed the different community changes as well. So when I was in the Pilbara, I was getting so much support around with the community. So many people were tooting, so many people were honking, bringing stuff out to me, lollies. I never bought one Powerade the whole trip, but every single day I had a Powerade.
That's brilliant.
Everyone was bringing out Powerade to me. Everyone was stopping, giving me some water
Wow, that's lovely.
as well. And the truckies out there were so supportive. So I carried a 2-way just to keep myself safe for the whole time as well, because in and out of reception, you're never going to have full reception. And just so I could communicate with the truckies as well. And the truckies on the 2-way, they were so supportive. And when they found out like what I was doing, and I passed some truckies like 4 or 5 times, and they were like, girl, you're making moves, like just keep running.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were checking in on me, and some even stopped and like dropped off like 4 bottles of water on the side of the road and would just keep going. But
Oh,
it
that's
was
brilliant.
little moments like that that just lifted
It
me
sort
up.
of restores your faith in humanity, right?
It does. And like as we're saying, it's so isolating out there. So
Yeah.
it's easy to be isolated. But when you're seeing a big truck coming and then they just gave you that, it just gave you a little instant hit of gratitude and love just to keep moving forward for the day as well. So it was so cool.
And so when you say that you noticed the difference with like the energy in the community, I mean, I'm guessing, but I might be wrong. But did you find that as you got to more populated areas, people were less helpful, sort of when you got to cities and that?
Yeah. And coming back into civilization was really hard. But
Yeah.
yeah, out in the vastness of it all, they're like you never see someone running on the side of the road like that on
Yeah.
a highway.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
everyone was really curious. And then coming back into the cities and stuff, it just started to get more, just I don't know the word for it. I wouldn't say like not helpful or anything, but it
But
just
just a
started.
different energy.
Yeah. And even talking about energies, even like moving through the countryside and the lands and stuff, like the Pilbara is really well known for its Indigenous and the Aboriginal culture and stuff up there.
Yeah.
So moving through, I could literally feel it. And there was this one day where I was going, it was one day, the last 6Ks of the day. I have honestly never felt more terrified and just empty and scared in my whole entire life. Just running through this patch of land just made me feel so it was like I was in a horror movie. It honestly
Oh,
just
really? And that
terrified.
was just a feeling you were getting. There was nothing specific.
No, nothing specific. It was just a feeling that I was
But
getting.
but I think we pick that sort of stuff up. Like I really believe that it is an
Mm.
energy that you're picking up. Yeah.
And when I was talking about it on my social media, there was so many people from that area, like from the Pilbara, who messaged me, who have done the drive down to Perth like multiple times. And they're like, we know exactly the spot that you're talking about because they
Oh,
feel it.
really?
They feel
Wow.
the car for like 5 minutes, but then being on foot going through it for like 45 minutes, it was just horrible.
Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? It'd be
Mm.
interesting to get a history of that spot, like I wonder what happened out there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that would
Yeah.
be for sure. But
So how did you like, when you're running that kind of distance every day, how was your sleep at night?
I was out like a light.
Really? That's awesome.
No, sorry, I lied. When I finally fell asleep, I was out like a light. But getting to sleep, it was like I was almost asleep, and then my pain in my hips would kick in,
Yes.
or my pain in my knees would kick in. So then I'd like
Yeah.
be tossing and turning for the next hour until I adjusted to it, and then I'd be out like a light. But that was pretty torture. That was pretty
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what I was worried about is the pain that you get when you lie down. Like you think, oh, it's going to be great. I'll just sleep because I'm exhausted. But your body just hurts and it twitches and it does all these weird things.
Yeah, and I'd never had that pain before, but it was like, and I sleep on my side a lot, so I'll sleep on my right side, and then my right hip would be killing, so I'd move to
Yeah.
my left side, and then my left hip would be killing, so then I'd move to my back, and then my back
Yeah.
was killing, and I'm like, ah.
Oh.
So
Yes.
Voltaren was my best friend.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, well,
Voltaren.
you did so well. Now, also remind the listeners what was your purpose in doing this?
The purpose was to raise awareness for mental health, and it was solely focused with the mining and construction industry and younger generation. But honestly, the cause was called Impact to Ignite. And it still doesn't hit me of how much, bless you,
Family.
doesn't of how much of an impact that it actually has had on Western Australia, but on Australia in general. Like the amount of people that were watching on, the amount of people that were following the journey, and the amount of conversations that it has sparked, it just
Yeah.
blows me away that I feel it still feels surreal that I don't truly understand the impact that it has had on people right now. But the conversations have started, and it was to raise awareness for mental health. And I feel like that's my purpose in life. So I feel like it is just the beginning for sure as well.
That's brilliant. And I mean, and it is such an important topic to talk about, like in general, but I also feel the post-COVID years, like the mental health of everyone has suffered. So, like you say, it's for everyone, really.
Yeah, and it surprised me that I had like 7-year-olds watching on. I had 9-year-olds watching on. Apparently, people would be like, kids would be waking up in the morning and be like, "Mummy, where's Brooke at? Mummy,
Oh, awesome.
can we check in on Brooke?" And I'm just like, that is amazing. But then the parents would have conversations of why I'm doing it with the kids as well. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if that can start in that age, like it
Yes.
is just incredible. But then to have like 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds like watching on as well, like checking in on me and having the conversations with their friends. So we met a lot of, like, being on the road, we met a lot of travelers out there too, and with caravans and all that. And the conversations that we were having with them were just so heartfelt and warming that they were
Yeah.
like, I can't believe someone's doing that. But then they'll take that away and share it with their friends and open up their hearts and talk about their own struggles with their friends as well. So it was literally just like there's no age, really. It just inspired
No,
everyone.
yeah.
That's
That's
just
that's that's brilliant. Yeah. And I guess it is one of those things that, well, it's cross-generational, really, isn't it? So you were also raising money. How can people, are you still open for donations?
yeah. So the link will definitely be open for donations until end of November, and then I think we'll close it off until the next activity.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, we're currently sitting at $72,000, which is massive, and all the funds raised go directly to the Blue Tree Project and 20 Talk. We do have 2 more in-person fundraisers happening, one in October and then one in November, but you can always donate via the link as well. And you can always jump back on socials and have a scroll back to every single day and see the run unfold yourself there.
Yes.
It was a massive journey for me, but again, like I said, I didn't realize how much of a massive journey it was for everyone else watching on. And like the messages that I've got, they're like, what do we do with our lives now? And I'm like, well, keep the conversations flowing, because the Impact to Ignite has ignited me to keep going with this further and further. But all the donations, like I said, go to 20 Talk and the Blue Tree Project, who are doing amazing things within the mental health space.
So if they go to Impact to Ignite, there's a link there, is there, to donate?
Yeah, so there's a link on my, if you Google 1600K Run Impact to Ignite, you'll find the link. Otherwise, you can jump onto my social media platforms, which is Brooke Emma Rose, and the link is in bio there as well.
Okay, cool. I'll put those links in the show notes. If people are out on the run at the moment and they can't remember, I'll put them in the show notes as well. Well, it's been an amazing journey. It was just phenomenal to watch you. Like I said, I was in Europe, so the times were a little off, but every morning I'd get up and I'd check the videos, and, it was really quite exciting. And you've done an amazing job to get from not really running a lot, to be honest, to be able to run 60 to 70 kilometres a day for 28 days. That is huge. So well done.
Yeah, and it's just reinstilled the fact that for me, that running is my happy place. Like I stopped running when I was young, purely because I thought that that's what I needed to do to have a physically healthy body. I thought that I was not looking after myself, really. That's what I got told by the doctors. But in fact, I was under eating. Whereas if I got my nutrition right, I could have kept running my whole life, but no one ever told me that. But now that I know that, and I know how crucial, important food is, I'm like, I've got to be eating for days before and keep running. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. So I'm so happy to be back in the running space.
Yeah, it's been excellent to see your health improve as you've been upping the kilometres. And that's from, we talked about this a lot, getting you to eat more. Like, food is fuel.
Yeah, and one thing that I did think on the run was that I'd lose my period again.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. And you didn't?
Yeah. No, I had it for 2 days, which for me and my body is freaking incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so good. And like I said, I just, I was watching you and watching different things you were eating, and it was like, you're still eating, which is just awesome. And I know you did lose weight on the run, but not a huge amount, like I said, where you're looking gaunt. You still looked healthy. Obviously, you were always going to lose weight, but you still looked healthy. And obviously, if you're still getting your period, you were healthy.
Yeah, so that was just a massive triple win-wins all around.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
And it's just instilled the fact again that female bodies are so powerful. They are so strong, and they can literally achieve anything when you look after them right too.
Yes.
So it's like females ain't weak.
No, absolutely not. Very strong, as you said, as long as we look after them. Yeah. And nourish them correctly. A lot of, women are under the impression that you've got to be like a certain thin weight or whatever it is, but it's about being healthy. And if you're healthy, you can do so much more and have such a better life.
So much. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for putting the message out there about mental health, but also about how, like you say, women are strong and we can achieve a lot. So well done.
Thank you. I'm just coming on the girls, let's go.
Yeah. And you've got big plans for another big run, which we won't go into too much, but just, everybody watch this space and follow Brooke on socials so that you can see the plans as they come to fruition. It might be a little while, but yes, another big run in the offing.
Yes. It's definitely just the beginning.
That's it. I can just imagine it. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Isabel. Good to chat again.
Bye.